Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical. I'm ranking back up with the BONECAST series, and this is just a series where I kind of go through and share some philosophy, some stuff that will help, just general life stuff that's very beneficial to everyone, and where I kind of wade into the deep end of the pool a little bit, discussing concepts and theories that really require critical thinking, pretty advanced concepts. It's basically a podcast where I bring video content as well and just dive deep into real beneficial coaching concepts that I've gleaned through my experience in life and can share and help others. Today we're going to discuss specifically the next level or the ultimate level of what is basically supreme situational awareness. This is kind of Jedi level stuff, right? And it's really interesting if you look at just Star Wars, if you like Star Wars, if you look at it as a comparison, it's very interesting because we find an appeal in a lot of stuff that has a parallel to the real world. And everybody wants to kind of achieve a level of greatness, achieve an ability to navigate difficulties with Jedi mind tricks, cheat codes, whatever you want. You want an easier way to do things in life. And some of us want it on a subconscious level. Some of us want it on a conscious level. Some of us are actively seeking. And so many people are searching for ways to do great things that are really ridiculous, I think. And get rich quick scheme. Somebody's selling it. Somebody's buying it. And it's all really bunk, right? And there is a Jedi level in real life. That's why we're appealed to stuff like that. That's why we like X-Men. That's why we want to believe at some deep down part of us that we could evolve to become Wolverine, or that we're in a process of evolution that can lead us to something. And the truth of the matter is that there is an entire realm around us that we fail to recognize much of the time. And these concepts are not really necessarily easy to understand. They're definitely not easy to learn. You've got maybe 1% of people in the world that will be able to learn these concepts through experiences, right? That's why once somebody has learned these through experience, it's so important to share this information with others, because most people will only have the ability to learn this stuff through hearing it, other people's experiences, and being able to adapt it. Now, a lot of these videos are members only, but from here on out, I think from number 9 or number 10 forward, I'm going to make them public so anybody can benefit from this information. The way that we value others is through sacrifice. And I'm sacrificing my time here up early in the morning, sacrificing things that would normally be important to a lot of people in order to bring you truth, knowledge, and help you. So let me run you through the process here of the different levels of tactical awareness, of preparedness, the different levels of people out there who just a few different levels of people and where they're at in life. And you comment below and let me know where you're at, because there's some different levels here. Level 1 is blissful ignorance, okay? A lot of people out there are in the blissfully ignorant phase, and that's a lot of times the happiest phase. Those people aren't able to see the dawn of the next day. Those people aren't able to see that the day's even ending. They're just living in the minute, and they don't know what happens to them or why it's happening to them, and they don't really have an interest in trying to understand anything broader. Some of those people are just fighting for their next meal. Some of those people are fighting for their next high. Some of those people are just so wrapped up in bondage, being a slave to drugs, alcohol, the monetary system that we live in, chasing fame, chasing whatever it is, whatever that you're a slave to. That's level 1. Level 2 is when we start to realize that there's things around us out of our control, and we start to contemplate why these things are happening, why they happen to us, what makes the world work, right? And that's kind of that next level. The next level is where we begin to generate some awareness. And that's situational awareness in a lot of senses. So that next level of awareness, I think, is where a lot of people are right now watching this video. But comment below and let me know which level you're at. That's when the door gets open. That's when you start watching Bone Tactical videos. That's when you start trying to better yourself as a person. That's when you start trying to find freedom, get away from addictions, vices, chasing the same thing everybody else is chasing. That's when you start to realize that if I want something different than what everybody else has, I've got to do something different to get it. Then from there, you start practicing and you implement change into your life, and you start practicing, you start training your mind, you start learning, reading books, becoming more intelligent, training with physical health, spiritual, possibly at this level you might get into the spiritual a little bit, physical, working out, going to the gym, staying healthy, eating healthy. You try to get all of your stuff in balance, and this is when people start tactical training. They start to realize that there's bad people in the world and good people in the world, and they start to realize that it's important to be able to have a capacity to defend yourself. That's when we really just start to get, going to the shooting range, maybe starting to consider owning a firearm. We progress from there into guys who are tactically proficient, physically fit. Then people seem to, at that point, when they're in that upper, starting to get to the upper echelon, we as human beings, we seek after these type of people a lot, and really unnecessarily, because it's not something that we should seek. But you get that's why you get all these YouTubers and coaches. You get these fitness coaches that are ex NFL fitness coach, and everybody follows him like, ooh, what can I do to get like this guy? And then like sheep, they're still sheep in this phase, and they follow these guys, Navy SEAL, professional athlete, whatever. These guys are at this stage still. They're not maybe stage 3 out of 5. That's when people tend to congregate, right, towards this. And we can look at it, if we look at the principles of nature, we see, I'll throw light out there as an example, how light works. Light waves are bouncing all over the place, but they all want, naturally we're drawn to the crowd. We're drawn to doing what everybody else does. A laser is super focused light, right? But what happens is you get, a certain percentage of those light rays going in one line, and the other light rays are like, hey, I want to join in as well. You don't have to get 100%, right? It's not herding cats. It's herding cattle. It's herding sheep. That's why we are referred to, for example, in the Bible, people are referred to as sheep, because we're so similar. They do stupid stuff on their own, but when you get a good shepherd, when you get a good leader, they all follow. The problem is when you get a bad leader, they also all follow. So that's stage, middle to upper stages is the blind leading the blind. We're following ex-NFL athletes, and we're listening to their advice on how to get rich, which they are not morally qualified to teach certain things, but we're following them because they have a title. And then we're watching Navy SEALs, and we're listening to their advice on what type of martial arts we should do. But this person is a Navy SEAL, and they have very great knowledge in certain types of tactics and equipment, skydiving with really nice gear on. And if we want to ask them what kind of night vision they had and how to use it, and what stuff they've been trained in. But then we get these guys that start teaching about things that they're not qualified to teach about, right? But because they have a title, we listen to them. So that's kind of the middle of the line. From there, we progress up to beginning to become spiritually aware of the minuscule nature of what we actually are as a person and as a human being. We start to leave the ego behind. And then you have people like Mahatma Gandhi. You have people like Billy Graham. You have people that we can notice are at elite level prophet teacher role, and they supersede a title, right? They don't have a title because they have a spiritual connection that we can recognize. And there are a very few of these people that are actually teaching really good stuff, and they're at that level, 4 of 5. The ultimate level we have the perfect prophet teacher that has done no wrong, and Jesus Christ is the example of that. You guys don't have to believe that. Do your own research on that. But that's kind of the spectrum, right? That's the full spectrum. So comment below and let me know where you're at in the levels so I can start making some videos going forward for you guys that will be the most helpful for you. I need to know where my followers are at so I can cater to you guys, right? Anyway, now let me describe to you how to get to the most advanced level, how to get to the highest level of situational awareness. And in this video, we're specifically discussing situational awareness, right? So situational awareness at the highest level is being aware not just of the physical world, but of the spiritual world. And something really interesting is how my life has come kind of full circle in one particular regard, and that's prisons. So you guys probably know I've been to prison in El Salvador. I've been to prisons in Spain. I was at a black site prison in Germany, held at a low point in my life, held on false, fake charges, made up stuff under a different name, to the point where the U.S. Embassy was saying that they didn't know where I was. Nobody could find out anything about me. I was thought to be dead, gone, right? Now, and honestly, I just have to say nothing of my own doing, through the grace of God. I've been recently going into prisons here in Florida and sharing and mentoring and coaching the good news, right? With young men who are in prison. And I was, that's kind of my quick testimony. The full circle is going from being a prisoner, going back into the prison system now as a volunteer helping these guys. And that's awesome. I'm very thankful that I have the opportunity to do that. And there's been a lot of comments here on the channel saying, Bone, this stuff you're sharing, it's not feasible. It's not practical. It doesn't work for me. And I just do want to say one thing about that. I'm going to get into now very specifically how to reach that upper level of situational awareness. But before I start, guys, you've got to be all in. You can't have your hand on the plow, doing the work in the field, and then looking back at the old stuff. You've got to be all in. You've got to be both hands on the plow and looking down the row. Only way you can do it. Now, if you take a picture of the person that's through these levels, we look at situational awareness level 1. This, it's on your cell phone walking through the crowd like this. And I even put up a video not too long ago where how to escape the city in urban unrest. And there was a guy walking by me like this and he didn't even see me. And that's an example. So then as you progress, you start to become aware of what's around you. Then you start to outfit yourself. And it's really crazy because what happens is these guys, you have a guy that has his phone here and no physical fitness, no weapons. Then you start to progress, and in the middle ranges, you have a guy that has a gun outside the waistband carry, that has a gun in his truck, that has a gun here, a knife here, this here, that here. And then as you start to advance up the curve of being more advanced situational awareness tactically, those weapons, they start to go back down again. You start to get the Molly gears in the middle, and then the curve goes back down to Walmart backpacks, Goodwill clothing. It's just, it's really interesting if we look at the physical aspects. If we took a picture of each person, it would be like those pictures you see of the fake evolution stuff of the monkey turning into the man and then the man now working on his car or whatever. So it's the same way. It's like a guy on his cell phone not paying attention to anything. A guy that looks like a, special forces guy with all of his kit. And then it goes back down to a guy with used clothing on that he got at Goodwill that's just a dude that you don't even realize, right? And that's the real gray man theory, but we won't get into that. So situational awareness, and the ultimate level is when you stop relying on anything physical. And we talked about Jedi in the beginning, and it's just a crazy association between reality and these Star Wars movies or fiction. We all want to be a Jedi, but we have powers that we don't realize that we have, because just through prayer and petition, we can start affecting situations before we even arrive. We can change the future. And how is that? We can change the future by our actions right now, by acting with honor and integrity. I'm now aligning my future to where bad things can't happen to me as easily. I begin to remove certain pieces of armor, physical body armor, a big gun. I start to get away from the need for that, first through training, right? That's maybe level 3.5, 4, is now you're so trained that you don't need to carry a gun because you are the weapon. And then from there, you start to realize that there's a world around me that we can't see. If you look at the science aspect, we talked a little bit about light, and it's really interesting to see the wavelengths of light that our eyes don't pick up as human beings. And I like to associate that with there being stuff around us that we can't see that's happening, right? And that's the spiritual realm, whether it's a parallel universe or whether it's within a physical and light spectrum that we can't see, but it's right here. There is absolutely stuff that we don't know about. And so the ultimate situational awareness is realizing that the spiritual realm is bigger than the physical realm, because we are not all powerful. We're a little tiny creation in a universe, a very big universe, and we're not the ones in control. So when I start to be, and this is what I shared with those guys in prison just yesterday, as a matter of fact. I shared with those guys that when I was in prison, I had to struggle. It was a big, very big struggle to me to, number one, to value other people like I'm working on every day, valuing you. You're important, not because anything you know or you can do, or you're beautiful or you're not beautiful or you're smart. No, you're valuable because you were creating God's image. And that's why I value you. The prison system wants to teach you that you have to be the baddest, you have to be the best fighter, you have to be the toughest. You can't let, the wolves are everywhere. You can't let these guys get close, so you can't let them get in. You can't talk to this guy because he's going to talk to you for a few minutes, and then you're going to be nice to him, and then he's going to try and take advantage. You know, you're going to come back to your cell one day, and there's going to be stuff missing. And now you have to make a decision. You've got to go figure out how to hurt this person, and then you're going to go get another charge possibly. So what happens, right? I had to learn that that's not, you don't have to follow the rules of the world. I had to learn that that's not the way that it works, because I can only do so much. I just so happen to be 6'3". Right now I'm probably 260 pounds. Been training martial arts my whole life. Hundreds and hundreds of physical altercations. I've survived and been through and fought and bloodied and beaten and everything you can imagine, and I have no power to control physically what happens around me with my own power. So it's a futile attempt to become this physical Jedi or this Super Saiyan warrior, special operations, whatever you want to say, you know? And that's, you know, middle of the road. Then we start to realize, guys, with situational awareness of what is going on in the spiritual realm. And recently you guys have been seeing in my videos, one example is this Crusader bracelet. And it says, in hoc signo vinces, right? And it has a cross on this side and a cross on this side. And what does that mean? In this cross we conquer, and it was used by the Crusaders. But I'm not trying to conquer anybody, but we are more than conquerors. And what does this mean to me? This reminds me now, physical reminder, when my physical brain isn't at the level that it should be and I'm not thinking about what I should be thinking about, this reminds me that there's a spiritual world out there that's more powerful. That I have the ability, through prayer and petition, to summon the forces of the creator of the universe, the Almighty God, who already won the fight and has 2/3 of the angels fighting for us, to go out and fight my battles for me. What I have to do is only worry about this. And we all want to worry about what's right in front of us. But we shouldn't worry in the sense of what the world teaches us. We just concentrate on what we need to concentrate on. Because worry entails being scared or preoccupied about the results. But we already know the results. I already know the results. And that's the Jedi level. We've already won at the Jedi level. At the ultimate level, we've already won. We know that the only thing that we have to do is stay tough. And so that's the hardest thing to being the ultimate level of situational awareness, is not to respond in anger, is not to take the physical shoot somebody course, because it never works out like you think it does. I've shot somebody in self-defense. It doesn't work out like you think it's going to. Never does. And every bad situation that I've got into in my life, I could have prevented by living in the moment, in touch with the spirit realm, with my higher power, with God, doing the right thing, studying the correct way to live. And I'm not saying that I'm on any particular level in this. As a disclaimer, I'm not telling you that I'm a level 0. The only thing that I have is the ability to share with a couple people something that can change your life, potentially make the world a better place, even if it's just one person that I help, and then you go out and help a bunch of other people. So I just want to challenge you guys closing out, because what a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from this, and I hope you've stayed tuned until now, because I'm going to close out with this, and so many people that have told me I tried it, Bone. I tried it, and it didn't work. You cannot try this, because the closer you get to God, the more you'll be tested and challenged. The closer you get to God, the closer you get to the ultimate level of situational awareness, the closer you get to becoming a Jedi, the more the enemy will be attacking you. And the more you just have to submit yourself. So all of you guys say, I tried and I couldn't get a job. I tried and I couldn't feed my kids. I tried. That's not the case. I promise you that's not what happened. You have to submit 100% and don't put God first. Number one, don't worry about anything else. You don't have to have a job, because God will provide. You don't have to worry about feeding your kids. You don't have to do anything other than one step at a time, following the guidelines that's the Bible that's God's given us. And worrying about the spiritual battle and the spiritual realm and the eternal, because we have maybe 100 years, 80 years, 50 years, 20 years, who knows, on this planet in a physical realm. But then our soul continues on to the next realm. So we should be living in that realm right now and concentrating on that realm. And that's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do. But that's how to be a Jedi with Greg Tambone. Thanks for watching. Bone out.